Welcome to the Getting Started with the Vertex Sync webinar. This webinar is the first in a series of 3 practical webinars where we will explain how to start using Vertex Sync. We introduce Sync briefly, and then also we introduce how to implement how to connect the Sync Vertex BD with the Sync, and that's in this webinar, we have those very short presentations related to Sync and PD. And today's webinar will be hosted by Philip Sigvardsson. He's project manager from Sweden, and my name is Jukka Haho, and I'm working as a product manager, and my office is located in Finland. So Vertex Sync, I think all you know what is the Vertex Sync cloud platform that brings everyone involved in design and construction in the same office digitally. And Vertex BD, the CAD software, can be integrated, fully integrated to that cloud-based service so that all the team members can work together and collaborate together through the Vertex Sync. In this webinar, before we go forward, you can also ask questions, and there's the question box available. And during the webinar, you can add your questions there, and then at the end of this webinar, we will answer to those questions. Let's start, and first we start and from where you can find this Vertex Sync and how to start using it. Here is agenda. First we go to the My Vertex store and we start the free trial, and then we go that process through and we start using Sync, and then we go through the admin tools very briefly, are inviting new members, and then we show a brief presentation of Sync using some examples there, and then finally we start PD and signing in from PD to Sync and have a very short demo about the PD. So that's the idea of this webinar, is that how to getting started with Vertex Sync and how to integrate the PD or connect the PD to Sync and start working. And where to start and where to buy the Sync. The My Vertex is service which contains the Vertex store, and that Vertex store you can buy the subscriptions and also start the Sync free trial. In this webinar, we go through this process how to have a Sync, and we start by free trial. And this My Vertex service is tool also to manage all the subscriptions and see the licenses. And if you are the existing Vertex customer and you like to, you can just log in. If you don't have access yet, you please contact the sales and they will invite you to this service. For the new Vertex customers who don't have Vertex account at all yet, and you haven't been Vertex customer beforehand, you need to have you should create an account, and we recommend to do this first before starting the free trial or purchasing anything from the My Vertex store. It can be also done during the purchasing, but it's simpler to do beforehand. So now we go first to My Vertex store, and the top right corner is the login button. From there you can also press the create account button, And now we have in this dialog where you need to put the name and your email address and then password. When you have done that, there will be a question about to confirm and accept the Vertex terms. And then when you have done that, you will be informed that there's the email verification sent for you. When you go to see your emails, you have received the email from Vertex Systems, and there is text which tells that to set up your Vertex ED profile, click link below. So you can just press this or click this create Vertex ID text, and then you will be forwarded to my Vertex store, and you are now in there. And now we can start. And there, top right corner, you can see your initials. So we are now logged in, and we can start. We can continue this process. And now there are those syncs. So there's the full sync, subscription, and then free trial. So we now start with the free trial. That's the default view in my Vertex store. And when you start the free trial, you just first press checkout. And then if you are first time here and you have not company details yet, you fill in the customer or company details here in this view, and also you can check the personal details. If you wouldn't have account at all, then you would fill in personal and company details in this view. When you have done that, just press next. And now when we are starting the free trial, you just need to agree terms of our Maspring, which is our web shop in background, and then you press continue there. Next view. Now we have started sync trial. And next step to do is to create the organization. And this organization, what actually it is, it's like a virtual workspace, which isolated virtual workspace, which is just which is that kind of space there in cloud, where is your documentation and data. They are well stored and isolated securely from all other companies. And the organization is not the same thing than a company. Company can have in our service maximum 2 different organizations. And inside of this organization, there's the tools to manage users, assign roles, and ensuring that everyone has appropriate access to documents and projects, so correct user rights. And that also makes possible the collaboration between the team members, so there can be multiple designers and stakeholders to work together from different locations, sharing projects, models, and documents in real time. So, and it's very secure way to do things. So all the project data is secure and accessible only by the authorized users. And because of this organization name is the part of the web address URL, there's some limitations, so you are allowed only to use the lowercase letters and numbers. So don't use special characters, spaces, and so on. When you have done it, given this name for this organization, just press next, and now the system will do there in background that virtual workspace for you. And then next page, you can see that order is completed. You will have now 10 trial licenses, and the next view you can see the organization you just created. And from this open button, you can open the organization. Actually open the sync with and open from the sync that organization you just created. Another way to navigate between My Vertex Store and Vertex Sync is there's the navigation menu there in top left corner, and from there you can navigate between My Vertex and Vertex Sync if needed. Okay, when you go to the sync, there will be that kind of dialog to accept terms. You just accept them, and then there will be welcome screen, and after that you need to, because this is the first time you are starting the sync, you just select some things there, some settings. What's the default content language? There's the two different ones available now. These are like labels and this kind of things what we have there in the system. They can be changed later on. I just select English here, and the next slide is shown that what is happening next. Now another question is that select the revision style, and by default there's the very typical revision style, but there's some other available as well. And when done, you finish the setup, and after that there will be, and you are now ready to go, there will be some kind of short tour, some tips about the main most important functions what exist there in Sync. For example, from the Sync logo, you can take your back to home view, and from this main menu, you can see the main tools there. And you can back to admin portal also from here. Now we are in admin portal because we are first time logged in to Sync. And there's the tools to manage users, and current user is there, and then there in top bottom right corner is the function to add something. Always when you need to add something there, add new users, add new objects, and so on, there's the plus sign for that. So that was the very good. That's the tour you will have in first time you log in to Sync. After that, we will have a short demo about the admin tools, and then also invitations and so on. So we continue with, and actually Philip continue now with short demo with Sync.
Sounds good. Let me just get my screen here by sharing my screen. Now it should be live. So this is basically what you could describe as your landing page for the first time you enter Sync as the admin, or when you register an organization, this would be your landing page. This is what we call the admin portal, as you could describe. You will access it here. And this will basically be where you change your system settings, your users, your groups, your roles, and your labels. So everything that the admin should cover, basically. The first page are the users. In my case, I have a few users due to this organization being used. But here I can see all my users' emails and what role they are, and then what license they have, if they have a license assigned to them or if they don't. I can select the user. I can, on the bottom, top right, I can click the pen here, and then I can adjust these settings. So if I don't want this user to be an admin anymore, I can make him a user. Or if I want to set his title or his phone number, or if I want to assign him a sync license or not. That's basically how to edit existing users. I will also show you how to invite users at the end of this short demo. If you want to share objects internally and you want to share to 15 people, always the same 15 people, you don't want to enter their email address every time, 15 times for every user. So you can collect all your desired users into one specific group. In this case, the staff group. I can create a new group by going bottom right and the plus. And then I can name this one test group. And then here I can add all the users I want, which are frequent in this scenario. And then I can go back to when I share an object in the future, which I will also show, I can share that with the test group instead of all the individual users. So it's just an easier way of sharing things to multiple people. If we go into roles, of course, Sync has different roles where you can do different things. And the base one is where the standard user role can, of course, revise, edit, and read, but they can't do anything on the system side. So they can't access this admin portal, for example. They're basically just a user of the system. The admin role is, of course, the user plus the system admin rights. So it's just having this admin portal here. And then, of course, you can have a guest who can just see what they are shared with, because the default access for all the other roles are all. So they will see everything you put onto Sync, but the guest user will only see what you have shared with them. In comparison to the viewer role down here, it's an internal viewer role, basically. So they can read all information, so you don't have to share anything with them. But this can, of course, be changed. You can click the pen on any of these and then change from all to invitation only, for example. Or if you want the viewer to be able to edit also, you can put it there. You can also add a new role if you want by clicking the plus bottom right. So in Sync, we don't really use a sort of folder directory in any way. We use what we call labels instead. So it's more or less just filters where you add a label to an object, for example, proposal drawings or documents or anything basically. And then you use that label by either activating it or deactivating it to filter to only show drawings or only show documents. I'll also show this later. But here there are some default labels. These can, of course, be changed. If I don't want it to be called floor plan, I can click the pen, I can edit the name of it or deactivate it completely. I can also add completely new ones by clicking the plus bottom right here. And then there are also some auto-labeling rules from BD side, which we will go through in a further webinar. But these are basically from BD side, what document gets assigned with what label automatically when they are published from BD, basically. And then on the file association side, we have when you upload an object to Sync, it will automatically detect what file extension it is. So in this case, it's BTL file extension. Will get the label document, but if you don't want it to be document, you want it to be something else, you can of course change that here. So you want any BTL files which are uploaded to Sync, they should automatically be considered a photo instead, or whatever. And then on the very last page, we have the system settings, which are basically just changing the revision format, which Jukka showed earlier. So if you change your mind, if you don't want to use that revision style anymore, you can change it here. So if we go back to the user page, here you can see like a preview of how the labels work. So I can click the admins and only see the admins, and I can click the users, etc. So if you want to invite a new user, you click the plus bottom right. And here you can either import from my Vertex, you can import from a CSV list if you have a long list of users, company users you want to invite, or you can click just the normal add user. If you click add user, you can start entering their email address. So you enter the email, the first name and then last name, and then their specific role. You can also, of course, add a phone number or a title as well, but that's not needed. It's just these four at least. And you can, of course, just keep pressing this add user button for how many ever licenses you have free. So whenever you invite someone, you need to have a free license, and that license will automatically be assigned to that user. And when I click add user here, when I click add, the user will be sent the following email here. So basically say his name or her name, and then I have invited you to join our organization. And then it's more or less the same sort of setup that you had with the My Vertex email when you first registered for My Vertex. The difference here is when you invite them to Sync, they will automatically be given a My Vertex user also, but they will, on top of that, be a Sync user. So as the new user, as a standard user, not an admin user, you come to the when you log in, it will bring you sort of tutorial also, but on the user side instead. So here it will give you an info tour on how revisions work and how labels and automatic labeling works. And then of course you will have the same sort of guide tours, I guess, for the user side. So I'll quickly show you a bit on how the user side of Sync works now. So when you just click the Sync logo here, it will bring you to the starting page of the users, let's say, where you will see all your buildings. And here's an example of a Sync environment with a lot of buildings. You will see there's a lot of things where you might find it hard to navigate if you need to find something specific. That's why we use labels. So in here, I can select if I just want to see the carport. I can click that one, and then we'll just see the carport. If I disable that one and I just want to see the garage, I click the garage and then I just see the garage. So that's sort of how the labeling works. So you set up your logic on how you want your specific buildings to work. You can, of course, create labels which are named one-story buildings, two-story houses, or three-story houses, and then filter on those instead. But it's the same logic. So if I then go into my demo building here, for example, I will have my demo house. I will see my project data card, so all my building information, which is inputted in BD. I will see here the building address, I will see the postal address, and the city as well. I can also, already in this scenario, fill in this customer data, for example. I can click the pen on top right, and then I can add my customer name here, and then click Save. And that will also add that data into the building in BD also. So it will fully integrate into BD as well. And here you will also see another version of the filters or labels I was talking about earlier. So if I want to filter on, I will only want to see documents, so which are basically anything printed out, which are not BD files. So here I can already tell I have my first walls in DVG format. I have some proposal buildings. I can also filter on published. And now I will just see any drawings which are published from BD. So I can grab my production drawings, which are all of them here, basically the entire building. And then I can also just, if I go back here, I can grab for example, my proposal drawings, if I'm on the architectural side instead. So here I can grab all my drawings, and either I can download them or print them directly, or just sharing this specific object. So here I can mark my production drawing, for example. I can click share, and then I click enable share, and then I can send a link to whoever needs to see or view this document, which is not a Sync user. And then if you want to share it internally with a guest, for example, who does not have all access from the beginning, I click manage access, and then I invite whoever needs it here, either a group or a user. And then I can, of course, also find my NC files, for example, for my Randeck or Weinmann or Handegger outputs. And you can also, of course, in the 3D model, which it gets automatically uploaded to Sync from BD, I can access my 3D model of the building straight through Sync, which I can, of course, send a direct link to customers or the salesperson or whoever may need it. And I will see this is quite an extent. This is a fully framed house, which I'll show both sides, both the architectural and the structural side. Now it's basically just loading the 3D model. So here we have the 3D model of the architectural side. I can see the exterior. I can also make a cross-section downwards to view the inside of the house. So if I want to see, let's see here, I will disable the clipping planes, and then I can now zoom in and look at the interior of the house. And what you're reviewing now is automatically uploaded to Sync, so it's no extra need time or manually work. This is just automatic when you upload to Sync or work with Sync. And then I can, of course, hop on to the framing side of it instead. So with the same model, I can now switch from architectural to framing. And then this is now the exact same model from BD, but just the framing side instead. So all the framing parts, all the sheets, all the, yeah, basically everything needed. So here I can do the same sort of section. We see the trusses already. And then if I go down here, you will now see if I select the sheet, I can get information regarding that sheet. This is useful for someone who's maybe at the building site or a customer who needs to verify that the information is correct. I can here mark a sheet and then click the information, and here it says it's a gypsum sheet. It's 13 millimeters and it's 1200 by 2600. And that works, of course, on any piece or any sheet or anything really. It's nothing really that stops you. So very useful tool both for building site and for production or sales. And that one is also, of course, if you go into demo and then, so instead of document or drawing, you can here click model, and then I can share my architectural model with the customer, for example. I can also in Sync here, it's not only from BD, you can take information, you can of course also upload or attach files directly from the Sync UI. So here, if I stand in the building, I can click the plus bottom right, and then I can attach or import my files here, and then save or upload them to the building. Here, for example, if I filter by photo, you will see a production crew uploading pictures of the walls being manufactured. So they will have sort of archived of what the production looks like. I'll also show here. So that's basically the quick demo of the user side of Sync. I will now show a quick video on how to connect your BD to Sync.
Let's go through how you link Vertex BD with Vertex Sync. First, press the Sign In button. After you press the Sign In button, you should be seeing this screen, right in your organization here. After that, press OK, and then the program will ask you to restart. Close Vertex BD, open it up again, and then press Sign In. Now you should be seeing the Vertex Sync Sign In. Enter your Vertex ID here, type in your password, and press Sign In. After you've pressed Sign In, at the bottom of your screen, you should be seeing your organization and that Vertex Sync is now ready to go. If you have any further questions, you can check out our official documentation on our website. Thanks for watching.
And then I will also show, now from the BD side, I will show you the sort of how it looks on when you're logged into BD. So here I am now signed in. It says sign out. And it also says my name and my organization in the bottom right here. I can now go into open building. And instead of working locally, which we are quite used to, there is now the sync folder instead. So here I can see all the same buildings I see on the Sync web browser, but I see them in BD now. So here I can find my demo house. I can open it. So it's preparing a local working copy of the building so I can work locally, and then when I close it and sync it back to Sync, it will be uploaded to Sync. So here is the building, and then it's the exact same as we viewed before. And then if I go into, let's see if I can just make a, when you're in the building, you will see a blue cloud in top left of the 3D window or 2D window. This indicates that the model you're viewing or you're working with is up to sync with what's available on Sync, on the web browser basically. If I change anything in the model or if I add something to the model, you will see that this blue cloud will now turn, if I save it, it will turn into a yellow cloud or orange cloud. which indicates that the model you are viewing now is different from the sync browser, which means that you have local changes which needs to be synced to sync. And then I can now either by clicking this button, if I don't want to close the building, I can click this button and we'll do the same thing. But if I go into archive and just close building normally, I can here create a new revision and added extra guidelines. And then click OK, and then push to sync in bottom left. So now I created a new revision of the building with these new changes that I made. I now remove the lines, but you will also see here that the building data card fields updated from sync. So the customer name that we changed earlier has now been updated in the building as well. So it will also show us here in marked in blue which fields were updated in sync and brought into BD. So it is sort of a two-way street when it comes to communication, which is really good, because it might be the salesperson doing the actual customer details on sync, but it might be the designer working in BD. So it's important that both of the parties are sort of possible to or are able to add information to the building without one person having to email the other or back and forth. So now it will create the temporary branch. It will basically compare the sync copy and my working copy, and then upload the changed files, which are different basically from the local selection. So now it informs me that uploading the demo house to sync was successful, and then it took around 19 seconds. And then you may now close this window. So, and of course you can close BD while that window is open, so you don't have to keep BD open. So that is a very short introduction on how to open a building in BD and how to revise it and then how to close it. You will also see, if I refresh this demo house, you will see that a new revision is available, and it will showcase this here. It will now show me my revision I made. If you click this clock or this backwards arrow here, you can go into revisions and then see revision 2. Added extra guidelines, and you can also see who made it, and you can go under events, and you will see, you can sort of keep track on what the building, what's happening to the building, who is opening it, who's closing it, and who is working on it basically. So, and of course you can, something I didn't show earlier is that you can of course mark an object here. If you attach something to the building, you can mark these images. You can right click and then you can click edit labels if you want to add a new label, for example. If I want to add the label engineering, or if I want to do it on a single object, I can also go into that object, which is this picture, and then click the edit button and then add a label through here. And then I can add architectural maybe. So it can both be done automatically and also be done manually, which is also important to be able to change something in the after. So this is basically this was a quick introduction on how the introduction works with BD. We will of course have more webinars in the future, sort of going through the BD side of it instead. But this is just a how to get started in working with Sync, which is the most important part, just getting started.
Okay, thank you, Philip. And we have some questions here. So the first one was here that is that BD integration really that simple as shown in the video? So actually it is. So you just need to sign in and give an organization name. But there is some other things like environment that you can upload and download and share with the team members. But we will come back to those in later on this webinar. So keep in touch. So, and then we had the question here that do we need to buy the license for every user? Yeah, actually all the members, the team members or organization members need to have a license, and then there are some tools like so that you can share the single documents for for those who are outside of the organization or third parties.
Yeah, so you can.
Then there was the question that, okay, Philip, you can answer that. Can I continue working in BD while I send building into the sync?
Yeah, so you can do that, but the version that will be sent is the version that was active when you click the button, basically. So it will not continuously upload, which is because it would take so much processing power to do that. It would just send the version that you had when you click the button. Then you can keep working, of course.
But you can basically, for example, open the new building. You don't need to
Of
wait.
course. Yeah, you can open a new building. You can close BD entirely. You can do whatever you want. It will do it in the background. You will see the little square or dialog window in the bottom right.
Then there was the question that, good one, is there an automatic save feature? So BD contains the some save feature. So you can set up that automatic saving. But the idea is that this building is synchronized only when the user decides to do so to the cloud.
Yeah, exactly.
Then let's see. How do we work on more than one model at a time? This can be very restrictive. Would you like to answer or shall I answer?
I'm not quite sure what the purpose is. I mean, you can reserve more than one building at a time. So you can so when you open a building in BD, it will automatically reserve that building to your name. So no one else can go in and edit it. They can open it and view it, but they can't change or save it. But you can reserve more than one building at a time if you want to do that, if that's what the question meant.
Yeah. And the other way around, if you like to have multiple designers to work with one building, we have some features for that to share and smart model techniques.
Yeah.
Then can we stay signed in so we aren't having to keep going it over and over again? So that it stays signed in quite long time. I don't know how much, but if you are signing in in the morning, maybe you don't need to sign in at all.
Yeah.
At all during the day.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the token validity is basically valid for 10 hours, but we are still sort of gathering feedback from the market if this needs to be adjusted or not, if people are working more than 10 hours or if they're signing in a lot earlier. But it's always possible to at least provide feedback so we can look into it.
And then there's a question that would we get a copy of the recording? So they will be recording a few days after this webinar in our webpage, vertexcat.com. There will be, if you go to PD, there's the event menu there in top part. So from there you will find this recording later on. And there's a question, how long is trial period for sync and what happens to my buildings if I have created them? So let's see this question.
Should I answer?
Can I create the sync after trial if I want to buy sync? So I can answer for that. So nothing happens. They will stay there minimum 30 days after you have ended up your trial period. If you start sync subscription during this period, everything is stored and saved there, and you will find work you have done.
Yeah. So the trial period is 30 days, and then the buildings will stay an additional 30 days if you need to remove them from sync, basically.
Then there's can we get a multiple license to test the sync features in our organization? How can that work? Would there be any mentor assigned to us? We want to test the process till CNC files are exported, until the CNC files are exported. So would you like to answer, Philip?
Was it basically just if I can get more than one license to test it, or?
Yeah, that was, so there will be 10 always.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you sign up for the trial, it will automatically be 10 licenses, whether you want it or not. Basically, it's always 10 licenses. And then when the 30 days are up, if you wish to proceed with the subscription, You will then at that point choose how many licenses you want to use out of those 10, or if you want more than 10, or how many. Yeah, but it is always 10 for free for 30 days.
And would there's been any mentor assigned to us? So I think best is to contact the local support if you need help, and there we will have this as we I think we have this knowledge base, this documentation space, and you will find from there also sync documentation, and there's from the sync menu there's the link to that sync documentation as well.
Exactly.
Then there was the questions that can people work on the same model at the same moment without breaking the model into multiple parts? So that was possible with using those techniques I just told, smart and shared models. Okay, that was more or less the questions, and there was again the question that can these presentations be shared with us? Yes, that can be, and thank you about your questions. Could you, Philip, change the next slide so there will be more information available soon? We will continue these webinars. June 12th and June 24th, I guess, was those days. And please join those, and you'll have this webinar events will be available also this vertexcat.com, and also we will send the emails for you as well to join those upcoming webinars.
Exactly. This is more or less just an introduction to the product, and then we will of course go deeper into detail when it comes to the Sync UI and how to actually create a new building in BD and how to work in BD with Sync. The workflow is actually not much different than what it is today. It's just a few extra buttons basically, and that you need to know what they do and how they work.
Yeah, that's true. We have today we were running very fast through this whole process, and next time we will go a little bit more deep to those functions and revisions and this kind of things, and you will have a more information about our products and how easy they are start with and use and so on. So welcome to those next webinars as well. Thank you for participating and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.